A very warm good evening to our viewers. Welcome to the agenda. I hope you had a very pleasant and restful weekend. I'm your host tonight, Matthias Aufiku, standing in for Toivon Jebela. But of course, as they say, when the cat is out, the mouse is boss. So I'm here tonight. I'm joined by the Commissioner of the Namibia Revenue Agency, Mr. Sam Shivute. Good evening, Commissioner, and welcome to the agenda.
Good evening, Matthias, and thank you very much for having us on your show.
It's indeed good to have you here on such short notice. A lot has been happening as far as NAMRA is concerned. That's the work you do. Also, public comments as far as the work that you do is concerned. And I can imagine, and I'm not surprised, that there's sort of a pushback and backlash from members of the public who have felt the wrath of NAMRA. Perhaps let's just touch on the work you are doing, which you and your team are doing. How is it going so far, and how are you being received by the public?
Well, so far, NAMRA is progressing very well. We still aspire to be a world-class revenue agency, serving with passion to positively impact the livelihood of every Namibian. We are very happy to note that a number of Namibians, and also those who are operating in Namibia or doing business in Namibia, they are starting to understand the mandate of NAMRA and the responsibility that is on our shoulder to mobilize domestic resources. Yeah. And we are very committed to strengthening domestic resource mobilization in our country. But so far we are making good progress. Yeah. This is our fourth year. And we just reported the revenue collection after 6 months. And yes, you may have heard that by the end of September, after 6 months, we collected a net of 45 billion. And with that 45 billion is 19% more than what we collected the same time last year. Yeah. Despite the fact that the economic activity is not as positive as it was last year. Last year, the economic growth was 4.2, and this year, the latest number from Bank of Namibia is 3.1. But still, we were able to collect 7 billion more compared to same period last year. So we are very happy with the progress as far as domestic resources mobilization is concerned.
Yeah. So your collection strategies, and you mentioned that there's been an increase compared to the same period last year. What would you ascribe it to? Is it perhaps the strategies and programs you use to collect taxes, or is it perhaps because of your public awareness campaigns that you run? Maybe now the public is more in tune as to why they should honor their tax obligations. What would you ascribe it to?
Okay, there are a number of factors that influence revenue collection. Some could be economic activities that is taking place in the country. Some could be change in behavior of some of the taxpayers. And again, of course, strategies that you put in place, like about 3 years ago, we developed a compliance and enforcement strategy, which we are following to the letter. So there are a number of factors. And also, of course, public education as well. Like I said, you had many taxpayers. We have seen taxpayers, some of whom who have been doing business here, let's say for about 20 to 25 years. And for all those years, they have always been in the losses. And when you visit them and you do some audit, you start doing some audit, all of a sudden you start seeing people paying. We had an interesting case with one taxpayer who have never paid taxes, and the moment we started auditing them, then last year, all of a sudden, someone is able to pay more than 200 million at once. Yeah. But all those other years that they were not audited, there was no, they were always declaring losses and so on. And this is what we are seeing. And again, on this Monday, we had a transfer pricing stakeholder engagement session. And we communicated information to the public. I didn't see it reported in any of the newspapers, just to say that we have about 404 multinationals operating here. And out of those, 300 are in tax-paying position. And you have 104 that are operating, very busy, exporting and doing business, but they are forever making losses, and the assessed loss just by the end of March 2023 amounts to 67 billion. Now, if you're making all those losses and you're still in business,
Yeah.
so that's why, I mean, the tax administration must come in and say, and ask some question. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is just on the multinational. I haven't touched on the national based businesses.
Yes, yes, yes. Because I know the issue of transfer pricing has been a burning matter over the years. I mean, we are a resource-based country, so and as far and I'm not surprised that you mentioned that we have so many multinationals operating in the country. As far as NAMRA's systems are concerned, are they at a level where they can curb these sort of illegal activities that continues to really cost this country billions?
Well, you may have been, with the establishment of NAMRA, we have established a transfer pricing unit. We were also very lucky that we were able to attract an expert from the private sector to come and be a transfer pricing specialist leading that team. But what we are also doing as well, we are also working with different developmental partners, be it IMF, ATAF, to capacitate the team. And even as I'm talking to you now, I have a team of expert training and capacitating our staff. Yes, we may not be where we want to be, but the good news is that this team have started doing some of transfer pricing audit already. And some of those who are subjected to this audit, some of them have already started paying millions, which is very good for Namibia. Yeah. And, but it's not only about the current capacity that we have. We are also very big in working with our developmental partners. Last week, I just got good news from the African Development Banks. For example, they have committed funds to fund us so that we get experts to help us conduct specialized audit in 2 sectors. We have already agreed upon those 2 sectors. The UNDP is also working very closely with us as well, and we will also be working with Tax Inspector Without Borders so that we help our auditors and make sure that we are able to close all the loopholes and conduct some complex and major audit. And at the end of the day, Namibia is going to benefit. Yeah.
If we have to move to a topic that has been really making waves in recent days, it's the sector, we call it loosely order with me locally. If you talk about order with me, everyone will know what you're talking about. So it's basically this small SMEs who are importing goods and selling locally. They've not been happy with the manner NAMRA has been handling their affairs as far as bringing in their goods are concerned. Some are saying their goods are delayed. Some of their goods get stolen at the warehouses. What is the situation? What's going on here?
Okay, one of our mandates is to provide custom and excise services that facilitate legitimate trade. Our mandate is really to facilitate legitimate trade, not illegitimate trade. Now, you will note that those who are operating in the space of order with me, some of those people are still operating and they are very happy and they are making very good business. Yeah. But also others who may not have been happy, and we have taken note of their concern and we have engaged them on a number of occasions, and we continue to be ready to engage them. Even a day before yesterday, we were engaging some of them. Yeah. What had happened in this country is that you have some syndicates, criminal syndicates that has been happening and operating here. You will find them in the booking keeping space. You would also find them operating closely with clearing agents or at the port of entries. So what had happened, especially with order with me, some of these criminal syndicates who have warehouses and also they also do clearing agents and so on, some of them, they then found a niche whereby those who are ordering things outside Namibia, they do what is called consolidating imports, whereby you may have about maybe 50 people ordering with one of that members of the syndicate. Yeah. And when they order, they then consolidate this order as one. You will then have one of those part of those criminal syndicate. He will be the one facilitating this order for many, many different people, and it's consolidated as one. Now, when those goods are imported into Namibia, these people who are helping our brothers and sisters who are in order with me, they will declare maybe only one single item out of the entire container, and they will pay, let's say, maybe 1,000. But the majority of the goods that are in that specific container are never declared, and these people, it's a cartel, it's a syndicate, they have their people at the airport or at the port. So when the goods come, they get the goods, then they take these goods to their warehouses. When they take their goods to their warehouses, now they have told our brothers and sisters who are in order with me businesses that, okay, for you to get this consignment or this product, this is the cost, and this is the custom import VAT and customs duty. But all those amounts that they have been charging people did not even used to come to the Namibian government, to the state account, or to SACCO. And as a result of that criminal syndicate, that cartel, and you can speak to my top senior official in custom, we did what's supposed to be done, and we break it down. Now, when we break it down, when it was intercepted and it stopped, now as a result of that, if you have to bring in your product or good, and using the legal way of bringing your goods, then you are of course then charge the import duty, which is 16.5%. And depending on from which market are you getting your product, then there's also customs duty. Customs duty, there's this concept of harmonized system that classify every commodity in the world have a unique code, and that code as well internationally and within the custom family, it have a specific price with the custom duty that you have to pay. Now, as a result of that, I'll give you an example. If you are importing, let's say maybe textile, maybe from a European market, the customs duty, which have not been determined by Namibia, it's a SACCO, let's say it can be 22% plus the VAT, import VAT. If it's from an Asian market, for example, or another market, it can be 45% on a textile. So it's very, now as a result of that, now instead of paying now this 45 plus 16, people used to pay a minimal because this money was not coming to the state, was going to this criminal. Now that have been disrupted, it had been disrupted but not 100% disrupted because we still pick up cases of coming from South Africa, some people trying to bribe some officials and so on, and they only declare one good or they will come in at a specific time. The good thing is that we know the modus operandi. I think Namibia is a country that is governed through the laws, and even this concept of consolidated import is never in our law, but it has been happening and people have been very happy. Now the question that the people need to ask, should we continue promoting criminal activity? Yes, it's good, people are getting money, but the state that's supposed to be getting this money, and we need to also appreciate the fact, how much do we get from SACCO? And it's that money that buy the medicine. It's that money that pay for the teacher's salary. It's that money that keep the police vehicles moving. It's that money that help some of our parents when they suffered of cancer. They were only able to get state treatment, public health treatment from the state. But now, if the government is not getting this money to help those people, while some individual here who are working somewhere, the other question is that, should we do the right thing or not? At NAMRA, our conscience is very clear. We're not doing anything wrong. The good thing is that we are engaging, but those who are with order with me and they are following the due process, not working with criminals and so on, and they are paying their custom duty and so on and the VAT, their business are still thriving. But of course the cost, the only time that they were not paying the amount that they are paying now is because that amount was going into someone's pocket and not to the state, not to SACCO.
And the question I'm going to ask you now, I'm sure it's not the first time that you've been asked this question when people are asking, how impartial is the Namibian Revenue Agency as far as the pursuance of tax evaders or tax avoiders is concerned?
I think we are very objective, we are very fair. When we enforce and implement the laws of this country, we don't look at individuals. That's why we do not like to talk about specific individual tribe or nationalities and so on. When we apply the law, we do not look at your profession, what profession, your background and so on. But those are deeply rooted principle of taxation, where you really have to apply the law as it is. And the moment you try to apply the law on the basis of, because we have seen a situation, for example, I've seen a situation when I get in the role, some people are saying, just focus on these people, or just focus on these people. I said, no, I don't need advice from anybody where to focus. I have to do the tax, we have to implement the tax law the way it's supposed to be done. Where you have the law, you have the mandate, then you have the strategy, like your enforcement and compliance strategy, and you implement it accordingly. Because the moment you know that in tax administration, there's a lot of legal power, and you must never abuse that power. Because remember, whatever you abuse, there is a concept of karma. And remember, whatever power that an institution have, that power have been given there by the people, and it can also be taken away. But if you do your work in accordance with the law, yes, people will be complaining, there will be pushback and so on. But as long as you know that your conscience is very clear, what you're doing, you go to sleep at night with a clear conscience and knowing that you have nothing to hide and you can stand up for whatever is being done. That is, so we don't personalize. There is no personality issue or whatever, and that's why the enforcement of this tax law, it take everyone. As long as you're supposed to be paying, whether irrespective of your background, everyone. I don't think there is anyone who will say no. I supposed to be paying, but they have not come to me unless. But if that person must just know that we are still coming.
You're still coming.
Yes.
Of course, the agency is currently in court with a very high-profile business lady from the north who was aggrieved after some of her accounts were frozen. Of course, I don't want to mention names because the matter is sub judice, it's in court. And there's always been this perception that from a political point of view, how comfortable are you and your team to pursue everyone? We've seen over the years where CEOs of parastatals and big companies aligned to the state are afraid to implement the law when it is seen to adversely impact high-profile figures in the country. How comfortable are you to pursue someone who has the power to sort of even lobby for you to be removed from your role if you step on their toes?
Yeah. Again, Matthias, thank you very much for this question. I've been a public servant for 29 years by choice. A public servant for 29 years by choice. In my formation years, I was a servant of the Namibian police, serving in the Namibian police. And during those 8 years in the Namibian police, there was a time that I served at serious crime unit, where we worked with, under the capable leadership of Detective Commissioner Niels Becker. Now he was Inspector General. So during that time, our responsibility was to deal with all serious crime in Namibia, armed robbery, murders. So all the biggest criminal syndicates or serious criminals who are afraid by everyone and so on, who civilian and business people are afraid. We took an oath during that time to face them. And I think we dealt with them very successfully. And Niels Becker is there to testify. So that shapes the character of an individual, but also with that background as well, we're bringing in a culture within Namibia Revenue Agency for us to know that we are serving a divine purpose. Because the work that we do is really divine. We see the hand of the Almighty in what we do in terms of doing the right thing for the benefit of the Namibian people. As a result of that...
Sam, just before you continue your train of thought, let me cut you short and you gather your thoughts. We head for a short commercial break and then we'll be back for the second half of the show.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, to our viewers, we head for a short break. Stay tuned.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee and always.
Well, let me welcome you back from that short break and thank you for staying tuned. Let's continue talking tax matters. Mr. Shivute, before we went to the break, you were telling us about your journey in the public service. This was also a prelude and in relation to my question regarding intimidation as far as your work is concerned. Perhaps let me allow you to continue with what you were saying.
Yeah, no, when I indicated that in the Namibian police I work for serious crime, we face the most dangerous criminal that one can ever face in this country. But it didn't just stop there as well. When I worked in the service of peace in East Timor for the United Nations, many police officers never wanted to work there. So we faced death, and we overcome that fear of death. Yes. Now, what I wanted to say here with regard how comfortable are we to enforce the law? It's not only about me, it's about the culture that we are building at NAMRA as well. We have got no choice but to do what's supposed to be done. We have always faced intimidation. We have always faced threats and so on. But the question is that, do you then give in to threats and intimidation, or you serve your country to the best of your ability? Like I indicated, we are serving a divine purpose, capacitating the state to be able to deliver on its developmental agenda. Because if this state is not capacitated, it will become a weaker state. We have seen the consequences of living in a weaker state. A state that cannot provide policing, a state that cannot provide public health, a state that cannot provide public services and good, a state where people will not want to live in that country and they want to go to be economic refugees in other countries. Yeah. Is that we want for Namibia? So many people, especially those who came before us, really, some people even died for this country. They shed their bloods for this country, and they even brought us, the generation before us brought us even independence. Now you Matthias and myself, we have an obligation to bring economic emancipation, and therefore we need to do whatever is possible to serve in the best interest of Namibia, so that when we leave this earth, then the future generation, they will know that there was a generation that contributed to economic emancipation. And therefore, we cannot even talk about comfortability, how comfortable are you? Yeah. I think Namibia Revenue Agency, we have proven it thus far, that we are committed without fear or favor to ensure that the revenue laws are implemented, are applied to each one who is liable to fulfill their tax obligation. Yeah. And that job, that work, we are doing it with passion. We're serving with passion. Yeah. But we're doing it in the best interest of Namibia and the Namibian people and future generation.
Take us into your confidence. And we spoke about intimidation, and perhaps just for us to understand the nature of the environment in which you and your team operate. What type of intimidation would you typically face?
Yes, it comes in many different ways. Sometimes it comes through cyberbullying. Sometimes it comes to people, whatever they are saying. But you wouldn't want to entertain and to repeat it on a public space like this. Yeah. And the reason why you do not want to repeat it, you do not want to give credence or to put value on it, because how the mind operates in the universe, that which you focus on will eventually manifest. And that's why we focus on positivity, we focus on what we're supposed to do. So it comes in different forms and formats. False narrative, character assassination, people playing victims and all those things. Yeah. But that's not where you focus. Because if you focus on the intimidation and all those things, you will be distracted. And one thing that if you are in public office and if you're having a divine purpose to serve, you must be focused on that which you're supposed to deliver for the best interest of your country and the people and the future generation, and not be distracted by all these things. As long as, and again, the good thing is that we're building a culture. At Namibia Revenue Agency, we're building a culture that when you see those men in navy blue and a touch of orange. We're building a culture of doing that which is right, working in accordance with the law, being guided by our strategic plan, which we just revised, ensuring that we are professional and fair in the execution of our work, knowing that we have a lot of work to do as far as improving service delivery to the taxpayers and all our clients is concerned. So that's what we are working on, and therefore this issue, the enforcement, for example, it's not about any individual. It's not about Sam. And as a matter of fact, the commissioner does not even get involved in audit or in tax operation. Yeah. We don't even get involved. That's why sometimes people, I mean friends or those people call and say, oh no, I'm being audited, or I have this tax issue, I want to come and see you. Yeah. And when I explain to them and say, you cannot see me because I don't get involved. And a commissioner must never get involved in operational matter. Because the officials who are doing their audit and investigation, those are true professionals. And the moment the leaders or the commissioners start getting involved, because they, oh no, Matthias is saying you're auditing him, what is happening with that case? The moment you start doing that, then you are breaking the institution. And leaders must never break that which they are building. We have seen tax administration being broken down, I mean, being destroyed in many other jurisdictions. We have seen tax administration that were operating at world class, but when they allowed forth external influence or whatever, or interference, some of them, they moved from world class and they got destroyed. Some of them got captured. So our wish at Namibia Revenue Agency is to build a very strong foundation, to build a very strong foundation, a very ethical institution, an institution that is going to serve only for the best interest of all Namibians and not serving individuals and not allowing any external influence or interference. Yes. And that is what we are building, and I'm 100% sure that we will get there. Because with the support that we are currently getting and the environment in which we are operating, so all the other pushback, resistance, false narrative, those one, they will not succeed because we're building a very strong, cohesive team.
I know in the past several SOEs have complained about government interference. Government would say, no, it's intervention, because we can't just sit back and see things happening when it's not going in the right direction. What's the situation with you? Have you encountered any of this?
Well, at the time when I accepted this role, my appointment principles, we have an engagement. And I have made it clear how am I going to operate. I'm going to operate in accordance with the law. Those law, even you would remember on the 7th of April 2021, when His Excellency the late Dr. Hagaji Geingob launched NAMRA, the pieces of legislation, the 7 pieces of legislation that we are going to administer, it was publicly handed over to me. And on that day as well, I pledged that I'm going to work in accordance with this law. I respect all our stakeholders, taxpayers, principals, bosses, governance, and so on. And sometimes the interference that other people may be complaining about, sometimes they allow it. So to me, sometimes leaders, because everything falls and arises on leadership. Sometimes leaders who complain about interference and so on, they are the one who allow it. Because the thing is that if you know the mandate of your institution, you know very well what the law says. But you also know that the politicians, especially members of parliament, they have also taken an oath to uphold the laws of the country. You understand? If someone comes to you, there is nothing wrong to consult, to engage, to get guidance, and so on, if that is allowed. You know. But if someone comes to you and say, no, I heard you are auditing Matthias, or Selma was bringing her stuff and her stuff been confiscated. Why did you do that? You listen, but always the foundational basis will be the law. And because the thing is, and also in our case, for example, the law is very strict on confidentiality. And that's why even with the question that you wanted to speak about, we're not allowed to divulge or to disclose the information of our client, unless if someone take us to court.
Yeah.
If someone take us to court, that confidentiality things, like those 5 cases that we won last year,
yeah.
it's out. When you take us to court, we can talk about you. There is no TV confidentiality
Yeah.
anymore, because all our submission, our answering affidavit, they are in court. But truth be told, sometimes the leaders who complain about government interference or whatever, sometimes they are the one. I may not have been in all those situations, but sometimes they are the one who allow that. I'm very lucky. This is not the first higher level position that I'm holding. I've been in a governance at higher level at different other institutions.
Yeah.
And I remember sometime an appointing authority would want to come and want to ask you about something or write to you about something. When you just know the mandate and refer to that, everyone will know their space and they will respect you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They will respect you for that if you are doing your work in accordance with the law, in the best interest of the country. They will respect you for that. They will not even give you tough time.
Yeah.
They may talk maybe there during coffee and so on, but they know that even publicly, if they want to talk to you about the wrong thing publicly, they know that they are contradicting the oath that they have taken.
Yes. Let's shift the conversation a bit to the issue of, you mentioned earlier on that you feel there is a cartel that's operating, which NAMRA is busy dealing with, especially as far as the bookkeepers and those bringing in the staff is concerned. But another issue is that SMEs have sort of felt over the years that not much is being done to really meet them halfway to have their affairs in order. Some of them complain that it's an expensive exercise, and that's why they always find themselves on the wrong side of the law. What is NAMRA's approach to that? Because I'm sure your approach is not just a punitive one. It's also, you also focus on public education and so on. So what is your approach to that?
Yeah. No, thank you, Matthias, for that great question. Yes, it's true. Our approaches have never been just punitive. We are very big on taxpayer education and taxpayer awareness program. I don't know whether many people even know that we are one of the few institutions here with our own visual audio platform where a number of our experts are explaining things there. We go to all the region. One of the only town we have never been is Oraniemund, but this week we are in Oraniemund. Yeah. So we are forever ready to engage. In a lot of groupings or association, every time they invite us, we make sure we get there. If there is a company or an institution that require information, we go there. And the good thing with the NAMRA service, our services are for free. And we do believe that public education sometimes is never enough. And we have to do a lot more. Now, our taxation system is self-assessment, especially within the bookkeeping space. What we have noted is that sometimes SME or business people, sometimes they trust all their affairs, especially financial affairs, in the hands of some of the bookkeepers. And maybe their focus is only maybe on their account, but the bookkeeping and everything, 100%, sometimes they trust it in this bookkeeper's hand. The bookkeeper, they are even the one who have the password on the ITAS. And as a result of that, sometimes they have got even no clue about they're just being told, oh, sign here or submit this document. Yes. And what we have noticed, just like any other society, you have many great ethical, good bookkeepers or accountants. But truth be told, we have also confirmed that there are also accountants and some bookkeepers who are unethical. We have also confirmed that there are also others who have got who don't care at all about this country, about the sustainability of this country and the future of this country. Yeah. And they will only care about their profit and taking money out of this country. So that's why one thing that we have picked up, there are even some bookkeepers and they're targeting businessmen and also SME who specialize in helping those business people to evade tax. But sometimes some business people may not even be aware. How do we pick up this? Yeah. You will find someone who is getting a lot of money into their account, but all the returns that have been submitted is always zero return. There was a time where we look, how come that the business is thriving, we have all these employees, but every time it's just zero return? Yeah. Some of them, they will, some of the cases that we will see, you will see maybe a company will make a revenue turnover of about, let's say, 70 million. And they will submit a return indicate in the financials. They will indicate that 50 million was paid for insurance. Now, as a result, then they will indicate other amount for salary and so and other expenses. As a result of that, this business is forever in loss making, and therefore they cannot pay tax.
Yes.
But what is really happening and what the statement are saying is not the same.
Yeah.
So we are also encouraging to say that SME and business owner, they must also take interest in their business, because not all bookkeepers, there are some bookkeepers who have got any regard for this country. And this is what we are picking up. It's about helping those businesses to evade tax. But later on, when audit is done, or when we check, there's money in the account, but every time you've been reported losses and so on, and we do audit and an assessment is late, and an amount, and one become liable to pay tax.
Yeah.
When we take action against the bank account of that business person. Now, talking about punitive,
yes.
We have not been very punitive. We are very accommodative. We are also saying there is nothing wrong for one to have a tax debt. Everyone does at one point or the other. But when you have a tax debt, come to the office and make a payment arrangement.
Yeah.
Because just check, if you look at our neighbor here in South Africa and in many other jurisdictions as well, on a monthly basis, taxpayers' property and assets are being confiscated to cover for the tax debt. We have not even taken a single property. Why? Because we want to see people growing. We do not want to see business breaking down. Yeah. But what we are saying, when an assessment is done, you have the right to do an objection. If the objection is decided against you and you are not happy, you can still, it's free of charge. You can still go to a tax tribunal, which is independent from NAMRA, and there you have advocate and lawyers who will adjudicate, and it's free of charge for you. And there at the tribunal, if they decide against you and you are not happy, you can still go to the higher court. Yes. But what happened is that because of the culture, there are Namibians and also foreigners who have been operating here, some of them, who over the past 20, 30 years, they do not know, our system does not show that they have been paying the fair tax that they're supposed to do. And of course, there have also been some people where they get a letter of demand and nothing had happened. Yeah. So I think the message is really to say that attitude, if one thinks you cannot be touched, irrespective of who you are, if there's a letter that says, this is your assessment, please come and make arrangement. Yeah. And also, you cannot say, no, I'm appealing, therefore I'm not even coming and so on, because in taxation there's a principle, pay now, argue later. Yeah. That principle has been confirmed about 3 times in our court, in all other courts in Africa as well. So when a tax administration said, Matthias, we have done an assessment, and this is the amount that you have to pay. Yeah. There is nothing like, there is no opportunity for delay tactic to say, no, we are in the court or whatever, I will only pay when a decision made. Yes. The law is very clear, say, pay now, argue later. And therefore, but again, even this power that we have, one of the power that we have access to your bank, to the bank account of each and every, just like we have the record of taxpayers, we also have access to their bank account. Either we write to the bank or we go through the FIC route. Yeah. And therefore, one thing that we are seeing as well, you will find the SME or the business person or the company give us 3 accounts or 5 accounts. But those accounts that they give us, that this is our operating account, it's not where the money is moving. Some of them, they have more than 20, 30 bank accounts in one financial institution or across each and every institution. This is what, so I think this is part of public education. Yes. I think people need to know that we do know the modus operandi. The people that are helping them to evade tax, some of them, we also get information. They also, those employees sometimes, I hope you have heard that we also have a whistleblowing hotline, independently managed by Deloitte. So your employee sometimes can report you, The people that your competitor can report you. But if you are reported and you are subject to audit or whatever, you don't need to worry if your affairs are in order.
Yeah.
So the question here is really to say, ensure that you are compliant. And what does it mean to be compliant? You are registered, you file on time, you do your payment, and you declare accurately. That's why our compliance rate in Namibia is very low. It's about at 44%. Why? Because people are registered, yes, but are they filing on time? I was just looking at this month, we want to pay 75 million. This month, this week, we want to pay 75 million in refund to individual taxpayer. But about 130,000 returns have not been submitted. Yeah. 30,000 individual taxpayers have not submitted their return, and we want to pay them, but they have not submitted their return. Yeah. Or their bank accounts are not updated. So then there is an issue of payment. So some of them, they paid. Are you paying the correct amount? Are you declaring the correct amount and so on? So I think we have been very educative, we are very accommodative, and if someone have made, I saw a request yesterday, someone saying, oh, Namra must stop going to our bank account and take our money. Yeah. We are saying, we only go, that is really the last resort. We do that if we note that there is a clear case of tax evasion. Imagine you are getting millions and millions and you're always submitting nil return, or you're submitting fraudulent expenses and so on. When you think that you are powerful and you're untouchable, when the auditor contact you and you say, no, I know the director there, or I know the commissioner, whatever, commissioner don't get involved, will not even take your number. So when you cooperate, you come and you do your payment plan, you honor it. We are very reasonable. That team is very professional and is committed to serve the Namibian people, because the team at Namra is your brothers and sisters. We want to see every Namibian, want to see Namibia grow. But if one have been used to the situation where you think, irrespective of your position, remember that in this country, there are only two people who are not subject to taxation. The president and the first lady, they are exempted. Yeah. Anybody else, you have to comply with the law that we have, that we have in our country.
Yeah. Tell me quickly about the issue of, and it's been there for many years, where members of the public sort of had this perception that, and I don't really like singling out nationals, where they feel that the Chinese nationals doing business locally are getting away a lot as far as tax evasion is concerned, because of the type of businesses that they operate, whereby they also compete with the locals for things such as the small businesses selling clothes and so on. How are you dealing with that perception? It seems not to be going away. I'm sure you've done your investigations. Is there any truth in that they are being allowed to go scot-free as far as honoring their tax obligations is concerned?
Okay, again, like I indicated, that where we operate as a tax administration, we try to stay away from targeting or focusing or engaging with the specific nationality, tribe, because that's how it all starts. Because if we start talking about specific nationality, very soon we start talking about specific tribe, and that's not the Namibia that we want. In taxation, we try to stay away from that categorization, but of course, we do know that there have been serious cases of tax evasion, but that has been perpetuated by both foreigners and Namibians. The record is there. But the people, there were some people saying that, oh yeah, some cases, I mean, the people are being, no action is taken and so on. The good thing is that we say, we don't talk about cases that have not been brought to court. That's why we say, anyone who, if you don't bring us to court, or your information is safe, but the moment you take us to court or we are in court with you, your information become very public. Now, this one I will talk about it because it's a public case and it's in court. Zongmei. Zongmei,
yes,
we took action. 36 million was taken on a single day. I'm only talking about that one case because we are in court. We went to court and we won. So that perception, that perception, well, you can't control the perception,
Yeah.
but I think we work with data, and our statistics shows us that we're not where we're supposed to be. Again, our enforcement and compliance strategy, we continue making things happen, but also we are also getting this system or invoicing in the future whereby we will have a system whereby anyone in a retail space, your system, your cash register, this thing of cash, we need to deal away with cash dealing in Namibia. Your system is linked to our ITA system. As you are working, selling, the VAT is already being calculated, and by the every second month, you get a text message and an email saying that, oh, this is an amount that you have to pay. Why did you not pay? In penalty and so on. So we are trying to strengthen all those loopholes that may have been exploited by different people. And the future of Namibia revenue collection, it's really moving. The future looks very, very bright for this country. So we're not here to defend anyone. We are saying that the cases of tax evasion, cases of serious undervaluation have been happening. On Monday, I was one taxpayer who, for 20 years or so, they never paid tax. We did an audit. They owe us. They have to pay more than 400 million, no, 300 million. But can you imagine people claiming losses of, let's say maybe just a meeting, just to organize a meeting for a day, and the charge of that meeting, the cost for that meeting per day is more than 3 million Namibian dollars. That is expenses that they claim. So it's unacceptable. I told you about, you have 67 billion assessed losses. These are business that are doing business here, making money, and you can see that, but the financials are manipulated in such a way that they are making losses. And these are the things that we are picking up, and I'm very happy to note and to see that those who have not been paying, they are starting getting the message. They have tried to go at different offices to seek for protection or to seek for interference. They have never succeeded. And it's not going to succeed during this time. And it's not about individual. It's a culture that we are building for that Namibia Revenue Agency.
Give us an update on NAMRA's plans to introduce an export freight tax. Where are we currently standing with it?
Yeah, where we are standing with the freight tax, the background with regard to this freight tax is with regard to, let's say you have a vessel or an aircraft or an airline business or a vessel that is not registered here, but it's bringing goods here or taking goods from here, meaning that they get paid as a service they provide to Namibia. The law in the statute is there and payment have to be done. But for some reason, the law have never been implemented. And again, as I said, Namibia Revenue Agency have this commitment to ensure that the law is implemented as it is. And even at the UN Tax Committee in New York, at that meeting, there is a push, I mean, for us, because we are required to strengthen domestic resource mobilization, say, why are you not implementing this law? Because people are making money in your respective jurisdiction and the state is not getting anything. Can you see the fairness in that? You bring 200 people here or goods or whatever you take, and the country does not get anything. You're talking about foreign investment and so on. Now, we are ready to implement, but also we are a very consultative institution. We listen to our stakeholder. So the business community and the industry players, they have engaged with us. We have also given them an opportunity to say, okay, this risk that you are citing, please give us some data or some write-up as well, substantiate it, and we also have our information. I don't want to go into detail. The good news is just to say that, again, just to prove to the Namibian people that NAMRA, we operate, despite the fact that we serve with passion, we are very kind-hearted officials who listen. And we listened to them and we gave opportunity to them to come back and bring us evidence about the losses and the impact that they are talking about. After that, we will then engage with them and decide whether we will implement or not. And if it's not working, there is nothing wrong for us to go to our principle or political principle and say, change the law. But there must be evidence that say implementing this will bring about this risk to Namibia. So we want to be properly informed, for them to know that when we engage, we don't engage just for the sake of engaging. We genuinely and sincerely engage, and that is where we are. But we are ready to implement, and we are happy, and we want to encourage those who are already paying, because some of the players are already paying, to continue paying, because it's the right thing to do.
Is there a deadline in place for that?
Yes, I think our next meeting, before end of January we need to be finalized. End of January 2025, we need to be finalized. We'll go back to them and demand that they bring their side of the story so that we engage and take a decision.
And just as we start wrapping up, talk to us about, I know there were issues sometime last year, I believe, with clearing agents who were not quite happy with some of the processes that they are subjected to. And NAMRA held several consultative meetings with them. What is the situation like now? What is the relationship like now with them?
Our relationship with the clearing agents is that when one clear your goods, remember that every goods that have to be imported in Namibia have to be cleared in the SCUDA system, in a customs system. And also the law does provide for clearing agents as well, that they have to be regulated by Namibia Revenue Agency Customs. So we continue engaging with them, but what we have noted is that the requirements to have the clearing agents to qualify or to be qualified or accredited as clearing agents were not stringent. You will find anyone irrespective of their experience, even not knowing the customs law, they are acting as clearing agent. And as a result, that's why many people, we ended up having a lot of challenges of undervaluation, misclassification, because some people do not understand. So we want to strengthen that criteria so that for one to become a clearing agent, you need to comply with certain requirements. You need to write a test, you need to pass, you need to demonstrate your understanding so that when you are helping the clients, you do the work correctly. Because when they undervalue, it's the client who end up getting punished or penalized. And therefore, so it's a continuous relationship that you need to continue nurturing. We need to continue engaging, but they can't operate with us, but we also need them. I think we just need to hold hand and move into the same direction. We want them to be capacitated, but we also want them to operate in accordance with the law, not to be misclassifying or undervaluing things to the disadvantage of the Namibian government. We are here to protect the interest of this state.
I know they were subjected to writing tests. What was the outcome like? I mean, you don't have to be direct about to say so many failed, so many passed, but based on the outcome, what was your assessment generally on how knowledgeable they are on the tax laws and customs laws of the country?
The outcome was very bad. The outcome was not very promising, and that's why we also felt that there is a need for clearing agents to get more training on custom, but not all of them. There are those who have been there for a long time and so on, but the outcome was not promising. But also where the holdup is now, that regulation, that documentation that require the criteria and so on, it need to be gazetted, and we are still working with the Ministry of Justice to ensure that the gazetting is finalized. But eventually we will find each other and hold hand and move in the same direction. But you cannot just have everyone, even any dropout can come and work as a clearing agent and so on, and not even understanding the basic customs law and so on. That cannot be allowed, because the level of undervaluation, misclassification, and even the time that Order With Me was thriving, it was also because things were not done the way it's supposed to be done. That's why if we were doing anything wrong, we would have been taken to court by now to rectify. There's not such a single case.
Just lastly, how would you rate NAMRA compared to its peers in the sub-Saharan region? And are you where you want to be, and what are your targets in that regard?
Our target, again, like I said, we want to be world-class revenue agency serving with passion to positively impact the livelihood of every Namibian. Now, compared to our peers in the continent, I think one of the best measurement is tax ratio to GDP. In terms of tax ratio to GDP, Our tax ratio to GDP for the year ended 2023-2024 March is 36%. Now the average tax ratio to GDP in Africa is 15 to 17%. Or there are about 3 countries in Africa, 4 countries in Africa that is operating at that 35, 34. So our tax ratio to GDP is moving closer to the OECD member state and some developed countries. But that is on the revenue collection. Yeah. How you measure tax administration is not only on revenue collection. There are issues of improved service delivery. And that is where we have a lot of work to do. That's why we have now recruited even an expert on customer experience who is now working on a project to improve service delivery. We are working with the World Bank to successfully implement our digital transformation agenda. We want the situation, from a revenue collection perspective, we are one of the best in Africa. There's no doubt about that. The records are there and they speak for themselves. That's why all developmental partners, they want to work with us. On service improvement, we are not where we were 3 years ago. But where we are now is definitely not where we want to be. In accordance with our revised strategic plan, we have a lot of work to do from digital transformation perspective, improved service delivery. We want our staff to be the most engaged and the most happiest workforce in this country. We want to have a very cohesive team. We want even to ensure that everyone is happy and doing, and when we save, we don't save for our own interest. We save for the best interest of Namibia, serving a divine purpose. That's why if someone wants to work for money or for personal interest, NAMRA is not the place to be. And that's why I'm very humbled by private sector professionals who are cutting their salary to come and join us because they are aligned, or they embrace our vision, the culture that we are building there. Yeah. But we are committed to become a world-class revenue agency, and our commitment is really to be ISO certified. And once we get that, we just continue improving. And I think NAMRA should be a model in the future to which, if you want to build a world-class institution from an ethical leadership perspective, commitment, branding, carrying out your mandate, we want it to be a case study. Yeah. That many people want to work with. I don't know whether you have heard about Stanford University. Stanford University, they saw NAMRA in action at one of the tax dialogue. They have decided that they would want their summer associate, these are graduates who are pursuing their PhD at Stanford University. They said, please, our graduate must come and learn leadership from NAMRA, and the first one already finished 3 months, and that will be happening on an annual basis. And I think we are one of the few institutions in this continent where a top university in the United States said, no, we want to study your leadership and work with you, and for that we feel very, very humble. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Shivute, thank you very much for your time this evening, and we wish you well with your work going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, to our viewers, that's it from the Agenda team. Have a pleasant week ahead. Good night.